Okay, my report is on the black-footed ferret. The black-footed ferret is actually the only species of ferret that's native to North America and the rest of the Western Hemisphere. All the other species of ferret, including the domestic ferret that people keep as pets, those are from Europe and parts of Asia. It lives in the grasslands and prairies of North America, so kind of in the Midwestern plains part of the United States. Before it was endangered, it was found in 12 different states, as well as parts of southern Canada and northern Mexico. But now they can really only be seen near areas where they've been reintroduced because they're so rare, especially in the wild. Their range used to cover about 20% of the western United States, but is now less than 2% of its original size. They're always found near prairie dog towns, and not only is that because prairie dogs are their main source of food, but that's also because they actually build their homes in abandoned prairie dog burrows. Alright, black-footed ferrets are members of the weasel family, along with wolverines, badgers, minks, martens, other weasels, stuff like that. Their average size is about 18 to 24 inches long and about 1.5 to 2.5 pounds. They're yellowish tan color with black markings on their face, feet, and tail. They have long claws, which makes them good at digging, and it's useful for them to get into prairie dog burrows. In the wild, they usually live to be about 1 to 3 years old. Mating season is in the spring, and the kits are born about a month and a half later. By the time fall comes around that same year, the kits are usually old enough to fend for themselves, and so they go off on their own. With the exception of the mating season and females raising their kits, black-footed ferrets are solitary, so that means they basically live on their own. They don't live in groups. They're also nocturnal, so that means that they're awake most of the night and they're asleep during the day. And they spend most of the day underground in their burrows. Okay, black-footed ferrets are carnivores. Prairie dogs make up over 90% of their diet, but they'll also eat other small animals like rabbits, squirrels, mice, and basically anything small enough for them to catch and eat. They store the food that they don't eat underground so that bigger predators like coyotes and badgers and other animals like that won't steal their food. The reason they're endangered is because when settlers started moving west and just, settling the western frontier, they would kill prairie dogs because they were a nuisance and they didn't like them, and farmers especially would kill them because their burrows were a problem with farming equipment and machinery, and they also made it hard to actually plant crops. And so basically, because the prairie dogs were hunted and killed and their population went down, they're such an important food source to the ferrets that the ferrets' population also went down. And the ferrets' population also went down because they kept losing their territory and their space to the settlers that were moving west. And so finally, after years and years of that happening, they became endangered. And by about 1979, most people considered them to just be extinct. In 1981, a group of black-footed ferrets was actually found near Meeteetse, Wyoming, and the Wyoming Department of Fish and Game transported them to a facility where they could be bred in captivity, and to this day they're still being bred in captivity there. And since 1991, they've been releasing captive bred ferrets to 17 different sites in 8 different states, and they've also been releasing them back into parts of Canada and Mexico. And that's my report.